Presidential candidate Kamala Harris is making a big push for Iowa. Instead of closed-door fundraisers, the California senator is hosting a slew of Iowa town halls. Here she was yesterday in Cedar Rapids.
And so I'm just going to get right into it. I want to just share with you a couple of my thoughts and some of my plans, and then I want to take questions and hear from you, because truly part of the process that I really enjoy most is hearing from folks about the issues you want to discuss, the concerns you have, and what we're going to do together.
We're going to talk about that strategy. Plus, Joe Biden is getting a lot of criticism, but is it deserved? And a new presidential candidate bowed out just this morning.
Team Rising is here to dig in. Daria Dawson is the Director of Political Affairs at Paid Leave for the United States Action Fund. Patrice Onwuka is a Senior Policy Analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, where I work as well. Welcome.
All-ladies panel.
Yes.
I love it.
And as always, panel, can we all take a moment to appreciate Kamala Harris's blazer in that clip?
Yes,
that was
fair.
Fabulous.
That's a great blazer.
Let's start on a place of unity. So let's start with Bill de Blasio has dropped out of the race this morning. I'm not going to put any spin on the ball. Patrice, thoughts?
About time. I mean, it's not even like he was adding any sort of, other than comedic relief to the campaign trail, he wasn't adding any substance, any ideas, anything that I think Democrats could really be excited about.
Yeah, Daria, I mean, I don't want to be too nasty here, but it was the whole move to run for president from him was a little perplexing from the start. He's not particularly popular in New York, so he doesn't have an amazing record there that he could run on. There just didn't seem to be any particular appetite for him to jump into the race, especially he was trying to occupy the progressive lane, but you've got two really great progressives already very popular and in the number 2 and number 3 position respectively already. So was the writing just sort of on the wall here?
Well, you know, I think I could appreciate a point that he made when he was speaking to white working class voters in that first debate to say, look, it is not people of color taking your jobs. It is not, you know, immigrants taking your jobs. It is actually the fact that these factories are moving, you know, because of where we are
I appreciated that moment
in this country. But, you know, I could imagine if a mayor of, you know, 100,000 people, 200,000 people of South Bend could run for president, then why can't I, as a mayor of like 8 million people in New York City? I'm not saying that I'm in his head, but I could imagine that may have had something to do with it.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like he didn't really have that really important vision. He didn't have a singular issue either. He was just sort of adding to the progressive field. I mean, was he the last person, Patrice, to figure this one out? I mean, in my mind, he stayed in way longer than anyone would have expected, other than him.
Well, yeah, I think his constituents in New York City were like, well, what are you doing running? Why aren't you trying to do something in our city? Maybe Cardi B tweeted at him and said, hey, where is my tax dollars going? What are you doing with my money? It's a dirty city. Come back and fix it. I will say the president's tweet this morning saying now the New York City residents are like, oh, no, he's actually coming back, so woe is us. I think his political career at this point is done because he's tried to be super progressive, tried to change things, and he's really not delivered anything that even his own constituents can be proud of.
So for what it's worth, Change Research tweeted this morning that 36 respondents across their recent polls had said they'd vote for Bill de Blasio for president.
Not 36%.
So Bernie Sanders, so their second choice, right, 36 people. Their second choice candidates are respectively Sanders, who will pick up 8 of those respondents. Biden will get 7 of them, and Warren will get 6 of them. So that's how this will shift the race.
And if I can really quick, not to cut you off, Crystal, I think the argument of the Working Families Party endorsement of Warren over Sanders has been the story, but I don't think people realize like the staff of de Blasio some of them came from the Working Families Party.
Yeah,
so could this endorsement have been a setback for his campaign, and maybe that he didn't get it, then maybe it's time for him to bow out.
Interesting. I mean, he probably didn't have much of a realistic expectation that he could, but it's another sign that the writing is on the wall that he's just not getting the traction that he wanted to. Another candidate who's making news this week, Senator Kamala Harris. She's had a rough summer. One of her staff members left their internal memo on a table in New Hampshire, got picked right up, saying that, you know, talking about a summer slump in the polls. She has been the person more than anyone who has suffered from Elizabeth Warren's rise. She has really essentially eaten Kamala's lunch here. So the new strategy, Daria, is to go all in on Iowa. Is this the right move?
I think we'll find out February 3rd, 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why not. It's still the first primary in this country. I think Iowans take pride in the fact that they are the first in the presidential primary and that they truly do vet the candidates. So if her team has decided that it's time to spend more time there so folks can get to know her better, we don't know what's going to happen until those caucuses take place in February.
The challenge I see for her, though, with Iowa is she's going to use it to propel her into, let's say, South Carolina, where she is struggling with the black vote. She has, I mean, when you look at the enthusiasm gap, that's fallen like 2-digit points over the past few months. The Economist, I was looking at polling just this morning, blacks look at her, give her a favorability rating of maybe 29-30%, maybe a little bit more than that. Compare that to Joe Biden, nice 60% favorability among blacks. So she's hopeful. I mean, I guess she's using Iowa to say, if I can finish strong, crack that top 3, then maybe black folks in South Carolina will support me. I don't think that's going to work either.
Kind of a
I mean,
Hail
lightning
Mary.
does strike twice. I mean, let's be clear. Let's think about where we were in 2007 with Senators Clinton and Obama. And I think, I'm not to speak for black people, but I think it's, it is a who can actually win.
Right. Well, and that,
so
I think
can we see if white people can vote for them?
I think it is a kind of a Hail Mary pass at the Obama strategy. I mean, let's be clear. Barack Obama, even though he wasn't leading at that point, he was doing a lot better in the polls than Senator Harris is at this point. But yes, when he won Iowa and did so well in New Hampshire, that was when the African American community thought, oh gosh, this guy's actually a winner. Let's line up behind him. And then that's how he was able to ultimately win. I think it is probably, this is my own thought, I think it probably is the right strategy for her because she has to make something happen. But I think it is very unlikely that it will work.
So just one more question, though, about Kamala. Where is the disconnect? Why is her campaign fading with voters? I mean, why hasn't she been able to, be in Warren's position? Why has her campaign just so utterly failed to connect with voters in the Democratic Party?
I mean, I think she doesn't have that standalone issue, and she has a record that she's trying hard to defend. Number one with the issues, Andrew Yang, universal basic income. I understand that. Joe Biden, well, Obama, I was his wingman. Elizabeth Warren, wow, a lot of ideas. And Joe Biden, he's a grandpa socialist. But Kamala Harris, she hasn't really defined herself as who she wants to be. And I've seen some policies come out, but they're all like pretty much along the lines of everyone else.
Yeah. Well, and it's I'm for Medicare for all. Well, sort of. Well, here's my own. I mean, it's there's been some waffling that just makes it look like she's trying to figure out the right answer rather than what she actually thinks.
And I think also to the identity issue, she doesn't embrace the whole I'm a black woman, but she also hopes to tap into that enthusiasm and black support. And I don't necessarily think that black voters only vote for someone because they're black, but I think she's been trying to carve out what she is from an identity standpoint, and nothing has seemed to resonate.
I want to move on to Biden, but I want to get you in on that first
area. I have an issue with this whole embracing being a black woman because I feel like that's who I am. I walk into a room, that's who I am. I don't think I need to say every day that I am a black woman. I don't think she needs to say every day that she's a black woman. But, based on her record, based on her past, based on her life, that's who she is.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it's just the Democratic voters.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the African American community, the support for her is similar as every other community. I think a lot of people are finding that this just isn't quite connecting for them. Ladies, stick with us. We're going to have more Team Rising just after this.